Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a lap guide for the current lap time challenge taking place at Suzuka Circuit with the 2022 Honda Civic Type R. So this is one of the many lap time challenges taking place in sport mode, so make sure you have menu book number 9 completed to be able to access sport mode, and then go ahead and click on online time trials. And I covered the Nordschleife time trial, so if you want to see that, I'll leave it in the description down below. But just like in that one, fully stock Honda Civic Type R on the sports hard tires, and your goal is to get within the 3% time range or the world record time when the event ends to hopefully get the 2 million credits. And this event ends at 8 a.m. Pacific time on October 29, 2023. And while everyone can participate in this lap time challenge, I think it's the top 10 Japanese drivers that are under 17 that qualify for the next stage of this Honda esports event. I'll leave a link to the article in the description down below. But anyways, let's go on over to the lap guide, where when you're starting a new lap, bring yourself towards the left side of the track. That way you have a little more distance to build up a bit more speed and get a faster start to your new lap. This first turn is already pretty difficult, so you want to be really careful here. You're braking at around the 75 meter mark. Your turning point is the 50 meter board. So right here, this is where I start to brake, full braking power for a short moment, turn in at the 50 meter board and slowly start to ease off of the brakes. You also want to slowly shift down to third gear to maintain control of the car. And you're trying to be really gradual here because it's really easy for the car to want to step out. So carefully going down to third gear, still slowly easing off of the brakes, so doing a bit of trail braking. And getting close to this apex, just slowly get on the throttle so you don't get too much understeer, as this car is a front wheel drive. As you approach the start of the S's, use just a little bit of your braking power to fine-tune your car's approach into the start of the S's. A little more braking for this right turn to stay on the right side of the track. Even just letting the car coast for a moment, so no braking, no throttle input to let the car turn in a bit more. A little bit of throttle control as you go through this left turn. But for this upcoming right turn, you want to use a little bit of your braking power and turn in just before the curb on the right starts. So you're going to hang on towards the right side of the track using around 25% braking power, a little bit of trail braking, just trying to stay towards the right, because as the new sector starts, that's where you want to get ready to shift up to fourth gear and then turn in. So you're turning in after the curb on the left ends and being a bit careful with your throttle input, so doing a little lifting off our throttle to let the car turn in a bit more, trying not to get too much wheel spin, as that will hurt your momentum and potentially send you off the track. Bring yourself towards the left. You're braking at around the 75 meter mark, full braking power for a short moment, and turn in at the 50 meter board. Taking advantage of the curb at Degner 1, being on fourth gear, then brake before the curb on the left ends for Degner 2. Once you start to brake, go down to third gear and turn in when that curb on the left ends, trying to get the car to turn in a bit more so you can quickly get back on the throttle. Just being a bit careful with your throttle input. Bring yourself towards the right side of the track and you're braking just before the curb on the right ends. Full braking power and go down to third gear. Slowly ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, so doing a bit of trail braking. As you hit the apex of the hairpin, slowly ease on the throttle to try to gain a bit of speed without getting any of that nasty wheel spin. And as soon as you're pointing towards this grandstand, that's where you want to be at full throttle input. Yeah, I don't go down to second gear. I think third gear is just fine for me, and also, not having to deal with all the shifting shenanigans. But for the spoon curves, you're braking before you reach the path that is on the right, so around the 80-ish meter mark, full braking power, turning in at the 50 meter board, and you can stay on fourth gear. That's what I do in this lap time, and just being careful about easing off of the brakes so the car doesn't step out too much. before the curb on the right ends, a little more braking input and turn in a bit more. You want to try to stay towards the curbs on the left, because when the curb on the left is just about to end, that's where you want to be at full throttle input. And again, for the spoon curves, fourth gear was working fine for me, so I don't have to do any more shifting shenanigans through there. But anyways, getting ready for 130R, go ahead and bring yourself towards the right side of the track. You're going to brake before the 50 meter board, and that 50 meter board is your turning point. So around 50% braking power for a short moment, and again turn in at the 50 meter board, trying to maintain as much momentum as possible, get back on the throttle, try not to poke onto the green turf on the right. Finally, brake at around the 125 meter mark, so full braking power, and make your way down to third gear. You're turning in after you pass the 50 meter board. Take advantage of the roundabout curves as they are still within track limits. Little lifting off our throttle for this left turn. Short shifting up to fourth gear for less wheel spin and to be able to go all the way to the right side of the track. And that is it for this part. So we'll go through this again, but this time I will not stop the video. Alright, so again, starting the new lap, going over towards the left side of the track to get a better start to the new lap. Gonna brake at around the 75 meter mark and just be really careful with easing off the brakes and the turning inputs, as turn number 1 the car does tend to get a bit unsettled through there. Even taking my time shifting down to third gear to try to keep the car under control. You can stay on third gear through the S's, a little bit of braking for these two turns, a little bit of throttle control for this next left turn, but then use around 25% braking power for this right turn. Try to stay towards the right side of the track. Short shift up to fourth gear for the exit of the S's, a little bit of throttle control to make sure that you don't understeer off of the track, as this car is a front wheel drive and does generate a bit of wheel spin in the front wheels if you're a bit too aggressive. Braking at the 75 meter mark for Degner 1, braking before the curb on the left ends for Degner 2, and gonna get ready to brake for the hairpins. So braking just before the curb on the right ends, and for the hairpin I go down to third gear, that way I don't have to go fourth, third, second, then third. Here I just do fourth and third and then just leave it there, and just try to be gentle getting back on the throttle as you exit the hairpin so you don't get any of that nasty wheel spin and end up understeering off the track. For spoon curves, brake at around the 80 meter mark, and you can stay on fourth gear for the spoon curves. Just be careful about easing off of the brakes and turning in a bit too quickly, as that can unsettle the car. You don't want to go through these turns going in way too hot or going out way too hot. For 130R, you're braking before the 50 meter board, and then you turn in at the 50 meter board that's hanging out on the right, trying to maintain as much momentum as possible. Get back on the throttle, bring yourself towards the left, brake at around the 125 meter mark, go down to third gear, take advantage of the red and white curves as they are still within track limits, and you can short shift up to fourth gear to reduce the amount of wheel spin you're getting, and tuck yourself in towards the right to reduce the distance to the start finish line. And just barely missing out on 222, but I was able to beat the real life time of 223.120, and my goodness, that's actually difficult. I think as of the recording of this video, only I think it's around 50 people have beaten their real life time. So yeah, it's pretty difficult. Getting the gold medal, it's doable. Might be a little difficult for those that are not too familiar with the combination, but trying to beat the real life time for that cute little certificate thing, yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that one took me a while to beat, but that's going to be it for this video. This is Mr. MCA, and I'll see you in the next video.